In the third essay of On the Genealogy of Morality, Nietzsche calls us to philosophical action by declaring that the will to truth needs a critic. Let us define our task with this. Much of the crisis of truth today has a lot to do with the failure of naturalists to raise awareness through science and critical thinking. As a consequence, pseudoscience and conspiracy theories are more prevalent in society than ever, and the concept of truth is becoming more and more an empty word. Despite my devotion to science, it is my duty as a philosopher to be brutally honest with myself and acknowledge the dark side of naturalism. I believe it is uncontroversial to say that globally we face huge problems such as relativism, post-truth politics, dogmatism, and radicalism. It is generally thought that the antidote to these poisons can be found in the values of enlightenment. Most prominently, critical thinking and reason are seen as something that could cure society from its illnesses. However, philosophers cannot agree what kind of critical thinking would save us. Since much of the rift between analytic and continental philosophies has led to tribalistic behavior, the methodology of tackling a single problem is in one tribe as far away as possible from the other tribe. One thing I would like to argue for is overcoming our differences and joining forces to combat a common enemy, namely nihilism. Now, it is uncontroversial to claim that continental philosophers deserve a great deal of blame for the havoc they have wreaked on culture. However, what I want to suggest is that analytic philosophers, naturalists in particular, are not innocent either. In fact, far from offering a cure in certain cases, they are as guilty for perpetuating nihilism, albeit unintentionally. How might naturalism, science, and nihilism be related? Doesn't Nietzsche equate religion with nihilism? And don't we automatically take it for granted that science is the exact opposite of religion? Answering these questions becomes easier once we are reminded how Nietzsche constantly warned against idealizing science, because on closer inspection we realize that science can and has become a religion. And it is as a religion that science should be equated with nihilism. In Nietzsche, we find several definitions of nihilism. One theme that one of his definitions touches upon is the recognition of insecurity. In other words, it's the fear of feeling deceived, of feeling one's beliefs are illusions. This fear takes a decisive shape in Bacon and forms the basis of philosophies of empiricism, enlightenment, naturalism, and scientism. Bacon's idea that the human mind is a crooked mirror which should be freed from its idols is an admirable step towards combating myths, fallacies, superstitions, and other ill phenomena in society. It was this admirable idea that became the cornerstone of the Enlightenment. Nevertheless, although the Enlightenment's mission was to shatter myths and idols, ironically, new gods such as numbers and measurements became idols for the enlightened, and people in white coats became the new priests. Unlike the followers of Adorno and Horkheimer, I do not believe that the Enlightenment was a failed project. That being said, I do criticize the Enlightenment's unstoppable will to truth. To understand the problem, we can ask, what happens when reason becomes a passion? Both Nietzsche and Kierkegaard identified reason in its search for truth as a drive, as a will. For Kierkegaard, reason is a passion, and passion is a good thing. However, the issue is that once reason becomes a passion for truth, it turns into an unstoppable drive that does not acknowledge or recognize its limits. As a drive, the will to truth cannot stop even if it becomes toxic and destructive. Once reason takes center stage, it opens the door to nihilism.